On today's show, we're going to talk about Central State making a massive hire that just made history for all of us in the college football world. We're going to talk about Elijah Robinson and his rise and resurgence in the Syracuse Orange. We're going to talk about you too. We're also going to talk about on this jam-packed show Virginia Tech and the Hokies and what the expectations could be for Brent Pry in 2025 year of our Lord. This is the world of college football, my friend. My name is Boone, credential media member of CFB Nation and the waviest to ever do it. This is my show, World of College Football, and we like to spotlight everybody. So today's show is going to start off with a bang. The winds of change are blowing through Central State University like never before, and they brought history with them on that wave. Ashley Cornwell, pictured on your screen, is a rising star in the football world, going up the coaching ranks with experience across all levels in the game. I mean, you name it, she's probably done it. And she just made history becoming the first female position coach in the history of Central State football. Her hire by new head coach Tony Carter is signaling a transformative step forward to the broader landscape of HBCU football. This move signifies a resurgence at the helm because we see more power players being in power positions, like Cornwell, who most recently served as the interim tight ends coach and in-game management coordinator for Bucknell University, and is going to join an assembly line of a Central State University staff that's been well put together, my friend. They've been coming together. She is going to be working with Santonio Holmes, former Super Bowl MVP. Former Michigan linebacker Mike McCray is also going to be working alongside her. But her resume by itself is in a category by its own. Her resume is built for this very moment that she's walking in right now. And even before making history at Central State University, she did that at Bucknell, and she did a number of roles at the University of Wisconsin, where she contributed to player development across offense, defense, special teams. And during her time with the Wisconsin Badgers, she produced programs, 6 NFL draft picks, and 6 more free agent signees who nearly all of them played professionally. She also worked with NFL International Player Pathway Program that allowed her to get so much insight, so much experience, knowledge, where she coached multiple prospects who went on a team with NFL contracts on their mind. And you add one of them being Travis Clayton, a draft pick whose journey through the IPP, ended up spotlighting Cornwell's ability to develop talent at the highest level. She also completed the Bill Walsh Diversity Fellowship with 3 different NFL franchises. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, she did it. The Washington Commanders, she also did it. And the Tennessee Titans. She was all in the coaching facilities. She was in the facilities, bro. She has a quiet confidence to her. But when she gets on the scene, you have to know that she's trying to work with everybody. Offensive line development, pass protection, leadership culture. She now joins Central State's program looking to reestablish herself in the SIAC under Coach Carter's new direction. Now, we talk about Coach Carter and his vision for what we want this to be. I feel like they found someone who is truly special, who understands football at every level, who knows how to connect most with players. And that's what we see that's going to translate and push her forward. She's a technician, she's a motivator, and ultimately she's a teacher. Who cares? Now, if you flip the scene and talk about Coach Carter a little bit, Coach Carter has always emphasized the structure, accountability, innovation. And ever since he's took over the Marauders, they've been in a situation where the blueprint has always been being professional, being buttoned up, making sure everything comes together in that way. where we can bridge mentorship with leadership. And we could do that in a way that resonates. This move absolutely resonates. And this Cornwell hire is a pivotal moment in HBCU football. All across the land, people are going to be expanding their recruiting searches now, trying to enhance player development, trying to modernize their coaching staffs and bring new faces, new energy, bring women. Let me just say it, bring women back into the ranks. And in a sport where women still face a steep barriers to entry, Cornrow's role with this whole entire thing, she's sending a message with Central State, not just as a young woman in the profession, but to all of the athletic departments across the country that she belongs here in this very moment. And now she's coaching at one of the hearts of the Black college football experience and most historic institutions with Central State. With spring practices already done and completed, we already getting into fall camp soon. New coaching staff is being assembled. Fresh new identity is on the horizon. Bold leadership is now center stage. And now a spotlight is shining even brighter on a coaching staff that is really led by Ashley Cornwell, who already has made history. She's just doing it again. This is the world of CFB, my friend. Shout out to all the people that's out there making amazing moves, including Ashley Cornwell. Welcome to the show. I'm your boy Moon, traditional media member of CFB Nation, and I get a chance to tour the college football world quite a bit. And one of the places that I'm super excited to go to this year in 2025 is the Virginia Tech Hokies. I'm really excited to go to the Virginia Tech Hokies and embark on a journey of the Hokies. They have a mind-blowing reputation across all of college football right now for being one of those atmospheres that takes you to the next level. When you get a chance to experience it, it feels like an outer body experience. Talking to the governor of college football, who's going to be live in a short period of time, I know that the Hokies is a absolute powerhouse when it comes to, just having a home field advantage in an environment that breeds college football. It just oozes college football. So on this show, my show, the World of CFB, we're gonna move and shift gears and talk about Ashley. We already gave her roses, doing amazing things from Bucknell all the way to Central State. We also got Brent Pry on the horizon because he's taking the long way home. Can Brent Pry restore Virginia Tech's to what it once was in the glory days? That is the central question. That is my central focus on this examination deep dive into Blacksburg, Virginia, and their beloved Virginia Tech Hokies. Before we get into this experience, we have to set the stage and set the stage clear so that everybody understands, a little bit more about Coach Pry, and not just based on what the headlines are saying or what the news clips might give you or any of that lower vibrational energy that sometimes they be talking about, you know? So we got to break it down to you how it really matters and, go into the fine details of it, the granular details of it. Picture Blacksburg, Virginia. This is a place of magic. This is a place of high standards. This is a place that is beloved to a people in a community that's growing and glowing. And hopefully in 2025, we can take that to the absolutely next level. This is not about returning to just bowl eligibility for Virginia Tech in 2025. This is about paving the way to greatness and getting back on that road again, because that road to greatness isn't always fireworks. Sometimes it's gravel. Sometimes it's grind. Sometimes it's cold film rooms on dark nights, late ones where you're not getting any sleep. And you got those quiet winners where nobody knows what to expect from you and nobody has expectations. But except what's going on in this room. For Brent Pry and the Virginia Tech Hokies, it's all of that and then some. This coach is in his third year, and there are no parades for Virginia Tech. There's no banners that's waving in the skies. There's no grand declarations or flag plant moments where we can look at a man from Altoona, Pennsylvania, who once slept in Blacksburg's offices as a graduate assistant. And now he's walking the halls again with the whistle around his neck and a weight on his shoulders, that same weight of a proud program trying to remember what it used to be. This is not about returning to bowl eligibility. That box has already been checked multiple times, twice, in fact. This is about resurrection, reclamation. This is about identity. This is about the ever shifting college football terrain that continues to seem to pass Virginia Tech in those mountains, pass them by, where brand names and tradition are fighting for oxygen. And Virginia Tech's question is less about the past and more about this next summit that we're going up on the mountains. And the guy that we're looking at to lead us that direction is Brent Pry, the man with the map. He has a compass. And he isn't promising miracles to us, even though we've seen quite a few over the course of our lifetimes with the Virginia Tech Hokies. They went 3-8 in his debut season, 7-6 in year 2, with another bowl appearance. In year 3, he got that. This is a quiet climb that we see that barely makes national headlines, but this is exactly what makes this story compelling and what makes Brent Pry's rebuild so compelling, because it's not flashy, but it's methodical and it's not driven by gimmicks or viral quotes, even though we love our relationship with CFB Nation and Virginia Tech. It's about the trench work. It's about bringing your lunch pail. It's about stepping into the moment. And underneath the surface, something real is starting to form. And in 2024, Virginia Tech produced 6 NFL combine invites, a top 20 defense under their resume, and the most physically imposing team in half a decade, even though I could dare to say that Virginia Tech's defense could have took a step up a notch, even further than that. Powell Ryland had 16 sacks, and they were a national statement. Brayshaw Tootin gave the Hokies their most consistent ground game, even though they could have leaned on him a little bit more throughout the season. David Wilson and the emergence of him. And behind it all, you're looking at one guy, the guy that's been here for a little bit now. His fingerprint was unmistakable. A relentless, detail obsessed energy that pulled Tech out of being in a place of obscurity and back into the conversation of the nation's elite. This isn't Brent Pry's first rebuild or situation where he has to turn into an architect, because he was once behind Penn State's suffocating defenses where the Nittany Lions rose back to Big Ten relevance. That was Brent Pry. He had a lot to do with that. His defenses didn't just rank in the top. They punished people. And in 2019, Brent Pry's unit averaged 2.6 yards per carry. You're not running anything. The best mark in the entire country. He did that from red zone defense to forced fumbles. His resume isn't padded with promises, but it is padded with results. And at the end of the day, that's all we can hope for. That's all we want. But Blacksburg, make no mistake about it, Blacksburg is different, bro. When you step into Blacksburg, it's a different type of expectation that comes with that. It's about soul. It's about reclaiming a program that once stood at the mountaintop with Frank Beamer's special teams and Bud Foster's chaos. The lunch pail legacy. Say it again. The lunch pail legacy. The night game electricity. Lane Stadium as a fortress where nobody can get through. And for years, that magic started to dim and it flickered through coaching transitions and recruiting misses, through the pandemic seasons, and even in the ACC when we look at it in a state of flux. And Brent Pry, he didn't walk into glory. He walked into a haunted house trying to make all the ghosts go away and figure out which ghosts actually matter again. And he's not afraid to bring them back into the light. Brent Pry is in Blacksburg with Virginia Tech. And even if we look back, the 2023 season gave us the ultimate glimpse of what could have been. That season offered hope of what could be. 5 conference wins, each by 17 points per game, a Military Bowl thumping of Tulane University. Offense, they jumped up 61 spots in national rankings just that year alone. And a defense that hit opponents like a freight train on a downhill slope. The question is now simple, but it's also very massive. Can this rebuild start to scale? Can Brent Pry build something that doesn't just win 8 games, but it contends for national championships, conference championships? Can the Hokies, the Virginia Tech Hokies, rise in a sport that's already increasingly rewards brand clout, NIL backing, quarterback glitz and glamour? Can they reunite and re-trigger the old school blueprint and make that come back and still work? Brent Pry's coaching history suggests that he went from Georgia Southern to Western Carolina, from Vandy to Memphis, and this suggests that he believes in foundation, building a foundational build. 34 years in the sport is nothing to overlook at all. This is overachieving at this point. How much gas do you have left in the tank, coach? That would be the question I would ask, but I know that fire is not running out anytime soon. And what makes this chapter different in the Brent Price story is that Virginia Tech once had it all: the facilities, the defense, the culture, the Saturdays that felt like war. It felt like you couldn't even think playing in Lane Stadium. And now it's not about invention, it's about remembering what the Hokies used to be. He's not going to speak to you like a salesman, a car salesman guy that's going to just try to give you a pitch. He really means every single word that he says. He's a technician. He's an absolute grinder. He's the kind of coach that obsesses over red zone tape and tackle for a loss counts. But there's something deeper at every single play. There's something deeper with Coach Brent Pry. It's like a poetic, almost stubborn belief in a place like Virginia Tech should matter again. And it should matter again. And on a cold weekday morning, a very cold weekday morning, just chilling out in the wonderful world of college football, thinking about what the Hokies could be. That's what I've pictured in this summer. In this fall time last year, with big and heavy expectations for Virginia Tech in 2024. We have to look at this as what it is. Coach Pry will be under pressure. How hot that seat is to you is your opinion. And it should be noted and put out there in the college football atmosphere because you're entitled to it. There will be critics. There will be a tough schedule on the horizon that starts opening week in Atlanta. But inside of Lane Stadium, there's a hum that's starting to roar. There's a hum that's starting to build that Virginia Tech can matter again. A tension, a sort of belief, a lunch pill identity and blueprint is starting to take charge again. And this time, there's a man in charge that might just understand what Virginia Tech was, and he might be the one to take it all the way back, but with no shortcuts, just sweat, blood, no gimmicks, grit. And he's not doing it by being someone else. That guy pictured on your screen is trying to be exactly who he is. You can hear it in how he talks. You can hear it in how he walks. You can hear it in that bravado that he has. You can hear it in every word that echoes throughout his press conferences, every single time that he gets on the mic. Being able to see him in many occasions over the course of ACC kickoff, because Virginia Tech and CFB Nation have a very budding relationship, we get a chance to have more access to coach. And I would tell you that it might not make headlines right now, but this year in 2025, I am highly paying attention to what Brent Pry is building in Virginia Tech and what may be just what Virginia Tech needs. They had to fight and have some calluses on their hands. They had to get their nails dirty. And underneath those nails is grit, power, and substance. Ultimately, that's going to define the Brent Pry era so far. Those same exact philosophies. This is home for him. He's not going nowhere no time soon, in my opinion. I don't think they will let a coach who was once a graduate assistant sleeping in the office, just trying to make do with him and his family, who is now the head guy in charge. I don't think that they would just, not let this slow cook. I pray that they give them some time, but for what it is that I know, I feel like Coach Pride is the exact man for the job. He just needs some time. Really just needs some time. This is the world of CFB.
Look at you out here using all these other sports books and you ain't even using the best one. Bet US. Get 125% match bonus when you use the promo code CFB Nation. Yeah, you heard me correctly. 125% match bonus on your first deposit using that code CFB Nation. We know that college football is in the off season, even though we don't celebrate that. CFB Nation, we do college football 24/7. But there are plenty of things for you guys to bet on.
Who will have the most wins? OKC Thunder or Cleveland Cavaliers? Can Luka and LeBron make it all mesh to make it to the play-in tournament? Maybe you're a college basketball guy ready to risk it all for Florida to make it to the big dance.
Basketball isn't for you? Maybe you're a football guy. Well, BetUS got you covered with this year's UEFA Championship. Can Liverpool or Barcelona win it all? Will Erling Haaland or Harry Kane lead their teams to victory?
May is going to get popping when the Kentucky Derby hits town. BetUS has you covered in that way too, with all major horse racing events. Point is, type in that promo code CFB Nation and go get that money. Go get that money, twin. We greatly appreciate you and BetUS. Thank you for watching. Welcome to the show. It's been a great one so far. We've shaken off some technical issues. Still gonna give God the glory. I'm a credential media member of the CFB Nation, and we get a chance to have a great relationship with Virginia Tech. So shout out to the Hokies. Shout out to Brent Pry. I wanted to do that deep dive on him specifically. We'll do a Hokies deep dive later on, probably right at the tip of August as we get into that next stage. But coming up next in the show, I'm super excited about this. Brent Pry got high expectations for you. This is the world of CFB, and I have the pleasure of talking to you about an absolute dog, an absolute menace on the field. Probably breaking down this kid was one of my favorite things to do. And it's just in this offseason by itself. From the combination of watching his film to the combination of looking into his stats and just all the accolades galore. He is, if you don't know about him now, he is probably one of the most impactful transfers in all of college football. And he is a kid that makes plays that you simply just can't coach. He is a guy that sticks out like a sore thumb when you watch film. He's also a menace when he comes down to the line of scrimmage. He is the ultimate playmaker with a bloodline, a blueprint, who is poised for breakout. Let me tell you the story of Oregon's most impactful transfer, Dillon Thieneman. When I look at Dillon and I break him down, there's something haunting about a safety who plays like a memory, not a memory that you cherish to yourself and you hold it near and dear to your heart. Like, a memory that I cherish is like my very first time ever going to like Six Flags. I freaked out, had an amazing time. I remember every single ride. Like, I remember exactly how I felt on the ride. It was one of those things that you can't really take away. And in the same experience, that's a good memory. I'm talking about a memory that you don't cherish. I'm talking about the one that lingers. The one where a wide receiver you didn't jam, or the window that you thought was open, or you're driving down the road and you're like, dang, did I remember to close the garage door? Like that one that makes you have a bad feeling about it, where, as a quarterback, you make a decision to throw at him in the first place, and then you second guess that throw as soon as the ball comes out of his hands. Yes, Dillon Thieneman wasn't just a freshman phenom that took the world by storm. He was a walking consequence for you. Absolutely. A silent enforcer from Westville, Indiana, who hit like he had something to prove. And every single moment, he made sure that people understood his name. He covered like he already knew what to do, and he's already a freshman. He didn't just wear a cape like Superman, even though in moments throughout the 2023 and 2024 season, you could really be able to see that. Like, yo, he just might be Clark Kent. It was in like he was in quarterbacks' heads, and he could not, like, they could not shake it or escape it. And now this kid is now going to Oregon in the Ducks. Absolutely incredible to really think about it. Let that breathe, actually. Dillon Thieneman isn't just another transfer portal player that you need to pay attention to. There's a reason and a strategy in why Dan Lanning and the Ducks are so surgical, how they're so calculated, so poetic, and it's the type of pickup that could change an entire season. It's the type of culture shift that is walking into the program that needs it after some change that happened over this offseason. The Midwest built an absolute storm of a person with soul that's stepping into the Pacific Northwest spotlight, into this fall storm that we're about to get into. And the craziest part about this whole thing is that Purdue let this guy walk. It's not like he was buried under the depth chart and you can't get, any wind of how good of a player that he actually is. No, they lost the most decorated freshman defender in school history, a safety who put up 106 tackles, 6 interceptions, 5 Big Ten Freshman of the Weeks. He also added spring electives onto his classes, signed up in his freshman year, and you have all of those accolades to come with it. That is truly incredible, bro. 5 Big Ten Freshman of the Weeks. He led his team in tackles in both seasons that he wore the Purdue black. He never missed a start. He was consistent. He's going to out hit you. He's going to outread you. He's going to outwill you. And every single opposing offensive coordinator has to be aware of where Dillon Thieneman is. He should have been the new face of a new era in West Lafayette, and instead he's now part of the defensive future in Eugene, Oregon, and not just a part of it, my friend. He's potentially the soul of it. Oregon, they got a safety, but they also stole a system-proof cornerstone who is arguably the best single high safety in all of college football, and they're going to be able to utilize him as the ultimate chess piece on the board. And somehow it still feels like most of the country is unaware that this pickup happened. Like, this kid is someone who makes plays, like coaches that's out there. He's a kid that makes plays that you simply can't coach. There's a difference between instinct and training. One can be taught. The other is born in the quiet hours of darkness, in the backyard when you're doing tackling drills, when you're playing with your older brothers. The second reads that he made in high school, all of those come back under the Friday night lights, the hum of the film sessions where nobody else is telling you to watch film. Nobody's telling you to press play, Dillon, but yet you still press and play. When I look at his journey to who he is, he was built on all of this. His arrival at Purdue wasn't celebrated nationally. He was a 3-star prospect, undersized, and the kind of kid that coaches like, but wasn't going to arrange or rearrange their board for. He wasn't even supposed to start game 1. He wasn't even supposed to pick off 6 passes his freshman year. He definitely wasn't supposed to lead all FBS freshmen in tackles or forced fumbles. And he also had 2 in Lincoln, like he owned the stadium. But somehow, some way, the 3-star prospect did. And this is where the story starts to take a shape and bend. Because every single time that he got tested, he didn't just answer the question. He rewrote the question. You can't start at true freshman at safety, Purdue. Oh, cool. He'll be your signal caller by week 2. He can't hold up against Big Ten physicality, surely not in his freshman year. No, he led the league's DBs and tackles again as a sophomore. He's too green to bait veteran quarterbacks. He's not savvy enough. Well, ask the ones who floated anything over the middle. It was coming back Dillon Thieneman's way. It's just how you make them in the haves and the have-nots of college football. And this one is someone that you will want to have on your team. And by the time that the sophomore season ended, Dillon Thieneman wasn't just on the watch list. He was the list. The Thorpe Award, Lot, the Bednarik, every one of them wanted a piece of what he was becoming. They wanted steak. You can't put a price tag on a safety with the tackle count of a linebacker, the awareness of a corner, and the temperament of someone who doesn't care who outranked you in high school. He's just going to knock your block off. Something started to change and something shifted along the way. And he looked up, and that same staff that had once believed in him at Purdue was not there anymore. And then that's when the portal, it wasn't a door out for this kid. It was like an open hallway left in a program that, for whatever reason, no longer fit in the way that it used to. And then we see massive changes with Purdue. But now Oregon, they didn't hesitate for a second. They picked this kid up with swiftness. And now we're presented with a new kind of problem. Now picture this, Oregon Ducks fans. The autumn twilight fog curling over the turf. And Thieneman is standing center field with his helmet tilted, eyes locked in, reading the pre-snap leverage of your wide receiver like it's a cheat code. And Oregon has a player that's coming in that the quarterbacks actually have to pay attention to, and I would dare say that they fear. Quarterback drops back, takes a 3-step drop, and before the next thing you know it, picked off to the apartments by Mr. Thieneman. That will be the reality in 2025, year of our Lord. Oregon hasn't had someone exactly like this before. Not this type of build, not with this type of motor, and not with this type of resume. They've had some great DBs. I mean, some really talented athletes, some NFL level rovers, some corners with top end speed. But Thieneman, he's going to bring something different for you. He's going to bring a battering ram wrapped in pre-snap poetry, because he does not freelance out there. He flows like a river, and he triggers certain feelings inside of you if you're a football fan at the core that just makes you get goosebumps. Downhill, the second that you hesitate, he closes in space, and now he's folding you in half. You think it's open? Nope, you're wrong. You think it won't come up and you try to strike on a 3rd down and 8 and he's not watching? Nah. You'll be looking for your mouthpiece in the rain, trying to pick it up off the turf pellets, trying to recalibrate your senses. For Dan Lanning, this is the perfect piece on your chessboard. A name built off of versatility, built off of violent defenses, even back at his time at Georgia. Thieneman might be the final piece in the back end of this Oregon Ducks secondary that suddenly feels national title ready. And this is the reason why I'm picking them to make it far, at least, and to do well in the Big Ten this year for the second straight time. Last year, they went undefeated in the Big Ten play, at least before we got to the playoffs. When we talk about his instinct, it's not just his instinct and it's not just his tape. It's just the way that the Oregon locker room already starts to talk about him now. We're seeing clips already coming out about how much the team loves him already, how much of a true ball knower that he is. The coaches already describing what his film sessions are, and the way that he carries himself. It's like he doesn't need to prove a thing, because he really doesn't. He always has everything to lose every single time that he plays. He has that chip on his shoulder from a 3-star prospect that came in that truly makes you wonder and question to yourself, how did you really blossom into this diamond right before our eyes? They didn't bring him in to just be a rotational pickup in the secondary or just another transfer portal pickup. They brought this kid in to lead and to do it with physicality and smarts. When he announced that he was committed to Oregon, you could see like a certain collective awe and gasp and collective, uh, what'd you say, a collective breath of fresh air that came into this coaching staff because they understood what type of time that it was. There's always been conversation about Oregon in the defense. Can they finish games? Can they match SEC speed? Can they build an identity that travels, that actually scares people? And Dillon Thieneman is the answer to those questions, Oregon Ducks fans. He's the one who turns a second and short into a third and long. He's the one who's going to erase tight ends and pick off errant screens. He's the one who's going to remind you that coverage isn't just technique, it's also a mindset. You will not cross my face, wide receiver. You will not catch that dig route. You're going to feel it in your ribs if you do. Pause. He's going to bring an edge and a balance and a level of resolve that this Oregon secondary hasn't had since his program's peak. And with the Ducks being in the second year of their Big Ten play in 2025, they're going to need physicality to take a next jump up. And you already know that they do. There's no more time to play catch up. You're looking for tone setters. You're looking for field generals. You're looking for enforcers in the middle. And finally, Oregon Ducks fans, we have one. But here's the scary part. He is only a junior in college football. When you look back years from now and you take a look at what this arrival means for the Oregon Ducks in 2025 in this new Big Ten world, you're going to think of splash plays, of quarterbacks, of playoff pushes, of moments that mattered. That's what's really going to stick out to you. But you will not forget number 31 on the Oregon Ducks. You're not going to forget the safety from Westfield, Indiana, the one that Purdue thought that they could keep quiet, but Oregon handed the keys to without hesitation at all. Here you go, Dillon. Have the keys to our entire back end. We trust you. He hasn't even played a. We trust you. He just got in the door. We trust you. He's the one who is going to play his heart out and have so much soul in his back end. I can't even describe to you fully in just words. He's here to leave a legacy with Oregon. And if you're throwing over the middle, you might as well just say a prayer and hope that 31 is not trying to hit you. Just hope. This is a massive impact piece for this program. Most people, there's a lot of people that are aware, but there's a vast majority that are not aware of how impactful that this kid is going to be for Oregon and why I'm picking them as one of my locks to be, for Big Ten championship. Because he's not going to get a lot of fanfare. He's just a kid from Westfield with clean cleats and quiet eyes when it all started out. But somehow, some way, this kid is going to be second team All-America. It just got released. He was named freshman All-American by every publication that still values the truth, because the truth is going to set you free. The kind of truth you feel when he lowers his shoulder into your best wideout and makes you think twice about throwing his way again. He took home the Thompson Randall L. Big Ten Freshman of the Year trophy like it was inevitable, because when you are everywhere at once on defense, it's so hard to not notice you. That award always tends to find you. 5-time Big Ten Freshman of the Week, the most by a defensive player. Every week, he just kept stealing headlines. He keeps silencing critics. FWAA Defensive Freshman of the Year because no one else hit harder than him. No one thought quicker than him and covered more ground in his first 12 collegiate games. Sean Alexander, Freshman of the Year finalist, a safety standing shoulder to shoulder with quarterbacks and 5-star running backs, taking home the trophy. Come on. 3rd team All-America as a freshman, to kind of nod where you got to tip your cap, because all he did was punch above his weight class and just keep winning over and over again. He set a Purdue freshman record was 74 solo tackles. That's 74 different times he met a ball carrier and made them remember it. They gonna remember when Dillon hit you, bro. 6 interceptions that he added in year one. That's just as a freshman. He just tie a bow on it. And West Lafayette tried to keep it quiet. And then he tried to do it all over again as a sophomore, as the honorable Big Ten mission. Team captain, he accomplished and checked that. He did it in 7 games. He put up 104 tackles for you. He was a leader in the room without you ever questioning it. And en route to making them be a solid back end in the secondary for Purdue. And now he is a Walter Camp preseason All-American, already writing his name into Oregon history books before he's even played a snap. Dillon Thieneman is an absolute menace, a dog. And soon the entire country is going to be aware of his name. This is the world of CFB. Welcome to the show. It's your boy Moan, credential media member of CFB Nation. And today's been already jam-packed. We talked about Central State already. We already talked about Virginia Tech and the Hokies and what Brent Pry has in store for 2025 year of our Lord. We also just got done breaking down Dillon Thieneman and what he means to Oregon and the Ducks for 2025 in this loaded season. They have a schedule that's going to be brutal. But you're going to need a dude in the back end that's going to, solve any race problems for you. Problems that should have popped up and just burned you. He's going to fix those. He's like the quicker picker-upper. He's just going to help magic erase all your problems away so you don't have to worry about them no more. And Oregon, with all the speed that you have on the boundaries on the field, you're going to need somebody that you can just let roam and just let go free. I talked about that and why he's such an impactful player, not just by his accolades, not even just by his film, but by the fact that he is a 3-star prospect that came in and just gritted it out. He just gritted it out, and he's ended with a bang. Ended with the bang with the 2024 season as a sophomore, and entering his junior year, he is ready to make the whole world notice who he is. Dillon Thieneman, it was a pleasure to do your deep dive. It's probably one of my favorite players. I got a chance to watch your film. It was so exciting to do. I'm super excited for what can be in store for 2025. Let's pick it up and keep the tempo going in the show as we close it out strong and talk about one of my guys. He's back, and it's better than ever. Let's take a trip out to Syracuse, New York, because there's a new kind of cold that's settling in. When you're out there in New York in late November, out there in Jersey, late November, it's like a different type of cold, bro. It's sharp, it's unrelenting, and at the core of it, it's honest. And it's the type of chill that whispers to you. That's what you think if you haven't been there. But then when you go, it's like you realize that this type of cold starts to bite and it starts to really put you in a chokehold. And for decades, we looked at the Syracuse football program and said to ourselves that Syracuse mirrored this type of frost. They had flashes of fire buried under layers of mediocrity and a tradition that was almost frozen in time, just waiting for you to take center stage for us, Syracuse. When you talk about the change of regime and Fran Brown entering in and ultimately hiring Elijah Robinson, a man who didn't just walk into this cult that has a bite, he brought a fire that came with him. He has that type of energy and bravado that you would want to in a coach, and it's a quiet confidence that is luring the sidelines and walking the sidelines of Syracuse University with the pride now. Their defenses will be physical. Their defenses will have intensity. Their defenses will be competitive. And you saw that they made adjustments all throughout the 2024 season. They had to put Fadil at linebacker just to pull off an upset. They didn't do that before. They had him on the line. They said, no, Fadil, we're gonna play and put you at linebacker, and we're gonna do nickel A gap, double mug pressure simulations, and they're not gonna know where we're coming from. Who was the guy that was putting all of that together and staying late in the film room, trying to figure out what can work, what can be the adjustments that we need to take that next step in that next level? Who was the guy? We talking about the one and only Elijah Robinson. He was the guy that's putting it together with the staff. So when I look at the true builder in the North right now, he is a guy that's perfect center stage for a breakout, and for him to get his feet wet in 2024, for him to actually take center stage in 2025 is just perfect timing. It's perfect timing right now for Syracuse. And if you look at what history has shown us with the Orangemen right now, people can count them out heading into this season, but you don't want to bet. You don't want to not bet on a Camden native who brings that South Jersey type of grit, that SEC polish. He's not arriving at Syracuse with all the fanfare, but the coaching staff, particularly Fran Brown, understood that this coach is someone that is probably going to be gone within in the next 2 to 3 years. So don't even get comfortable for real, but understand his potency, because he has big things awaiting him in his college football coaching tenure. And for him, it's all about culture. It's all about toughness and defensive accountability. Those are the things that you love to see in the pillars that you would want in a hallmark defense. In Syracuse's first year as defensive coordinator and assistant head coach to Fran Brown, the Orange roared. They had 10 wins, the best this century. A defense that just wasn't opportunistic, it was relentless. 10 different players intercepted a pass for Syracuse in 2024. Double digit sacks. Double digit tackles. They had 22 different guys that finished with double digit tackles. That's not happenstance, bro. That's system. That's philosophy. That's Coach Robinson. How do you turn from a recruiter to an architect? Well, before he even drew up a blitz package in the JMA wireless tone, Coach Robinson had already built a reputation as one of the most prolific recruiters in the entire country. You can bet he was. At Texas A&M, he helped land the number one class in the country. He helped develop that number one class in the country with DeMarvin Leal, Michael Clemens, Bobby Brown III. All of those were Robinson pupils. And now they're all primed to cash NFL checks with the Aggies. And yet, in the football world that's often obsessed with the rankings and the hyperbole, sometimes so obsessed with all the stars, they don't seem to be obsessed with roster construction and being able to develop talent, the foundation of it, not the hype. And that A&M, the defenses that he did were among the nation's best in rushing defense, sacks. He got that 2023 unit, finished top 3 in sacks per game, and was one of the most disruptive fronts in the entire SEC. And this is prior to his arrival to Syracuse. Prior to him getting there to Texas A&M, like, they hadn't produced a single drafted defensive tackle in over a decade. And under Robinson, he had 4 of them in counting. His philosophy never changed, even when the jerseys decided to swap, whether it was wearing maroon in the South or orange as a builder in the North. Elijah Robinson builds from the inside out. That's how he likes to do. And now we're talking about Syracuse culture. Syracuse culture is going to be built dark first and foremost, and also it's going to be built brick by brick. When Fran Brown took over as head coach at Syracuse, the first call that he made was to Elijah Robinson. And you start looking at the fine print and the details of it, and it wasn't just about, bringing back the connections from Temple or just sharing a recruiting philosophy that's simple, and I'm not that simple, but that actually mirrors each other and that can be face to face. We on the same type of time. They needed a defensive coordinator. He needed a culture co-pilot that can come to Syracuse and really change the identity and take out all the baggage of what was left over before, and really bring in the new philosophy from Jump Street. And together, they ended up turning a team that was supposed to be in transition into one of the ACC's most feared units. Elijah Robinson's defensive line was rotating like an arsenal, bro. Murad Watson, he was flashing all over the place, and he earned 247 Sports Freshman All-American honors. Clarence Lewis, Verdell Diggs, Marlo Wax, even though he got banged up, Justin Barron, tone setters on the back end for them. When you talk about having a top-heavy defense with only one or two stars, nah, this is like a mosaic. It's pieces in every pieces in every picture. You just have to look deeper in the fine print. In the versatility, the violence, it felt like this defense was vacuum sealed top to bottom until they got banged up a lot. When you talk about development, Coach Elijah Robinson actually does it. He can make second string guys ready like they're actual starters, and they hit like they won a scholarship for you. Even if they already got one accomplished, they'll still go and put their bodies in on the line for you. They'll go the extra mile for Coach Robinson. He's going to coach effort. He's going to demand buy-in, and every single tackle is going to be a business decision. Every single assignment is going to be a test of pride. Every single time that you buy in on the field with the Syracuse Orange, you're not just on the field, you're helping add to this legacy of long lineage of Syracuse Orangemen greats and just pillars in this program that's already there. And he's going to demand that from you. Because first, it's going to start in the trenches. In the trenches is where it gets done and where it gets spicy. And for Coach, he's used to the trenches. This is the world of CFB, and this is Elijah Robinson. His life in a story could be told by the trenches. A former defensive tackle at Penn State, trenches. His playing career was cut short by injury. You have to learn how to adjust, and he did that in the trenches. He never left the game, though, because the game was always inside. And instead, he immersed himself into that game and now went from grad assistant to his alma mater to leading one of the most feared fronts in the SEC at Texas A&M. And now he's climbed with calloused hands all the way to the mountaintop where we are right now in this next peak. And he has a no shortcuts type of mentality. So you better believe he's going to get it out the mud. He did that at Temple. He got it out the mud. He helped mold Hassan Reddick, Matt Iodonis. Like, he helped develop them into NFL ready weapons. At Baylor, he developed Ira Lewis, all Big 12 defender. A&M, Justin Matabuki, now one of the most productive defensive tackles in the NFL. Leading an SEC type line that's going to disrupt everything in his pathway and every single thing that he touches. And it's never been about individual resumes, though, with Coach. He'll tell you himself. He'll be quick to give the praise to another person and talk about the other staff, but sometimes people need to give you your flowers too, Coach. And I'm going to talk about your resume because as a collective identity, as a grand sample size, from Camden to College Station, from Temple's urban grit to the rolling hills of Central New York, he has kept his message very clear every single time. Build it right or don't build it at all. The future of the Syracuse Orange in the 2025 season could be the most important for Syracuse football in nearly 2 decades. And even last year felt like a mystery, but this year feels like, whoa, we kind of know that we have 2 cornerstones now here just by themselves. You start looking at Coach Robinson, and it seems like they made it clear with Fran Brown, a defensive wizard, and Coach Robinson, and you have a returning core of just hardened defenders that already know the system. Some sneaky good vets. I feel like Syracuse has made it abundantly clear that They don't want to just be relevant. They want to be feared. They want to win. And they have their eyes on the ACC championship, even if we, the media, we, the people, don't think so. And if Coach Robinson decides to stay in the 315 area code just long enough, longer than he should, even if he don't, but if he decides to stay, it will be like watching him accomplish his best work year in and year out, seeing the evolution of a coach that has got it out of the mud, that had to endure being in the highest of moments, and then had it all snatched away from him in a second. Had to rebuild it again. Have to go down the pathway of Texas A&M where they hadn't gotten this type of recruiting classes in a while, and other people were looking at the main guy at the front, but they don't want to give him the credit. You know what I mean? Sometimes it can't be like that. Sometimes you got to still build, even though you're not gonna get the recognition. And coach, he might not get the recognition, but I promise you, bro, I promise you, he's one of the key power players. And you see him with the shades on, man. You see him walking. You might see him like you think everything is smooth, but behind him is a defensive wizard, a recruiting guru that is perfectly centered and positioned to go crazy in 2025. And also with his positioning next to Fran Brown, it's elite for his growth and development as a man, and also his growth and development as a wizard. For real. The future is really bright for a coach. He's doing it by building brick on brick. He's building it by building a belief on top of each other, getting this fan base and community excited and proud. And he's doing it without the spotlight, answering the questions and how he would want it, and not giving you the status quo type of answers to the media. And he's also doing it with a quiet confidence that is brewing on the sidelines of Syracuse University, bro. This is the world of CFB, and this was my Elijah Robinson full circle journey back to Jersey deep dive from recruiter to architect. Elijah Robinson is truly a builder in the North, and we at CFB Nation are fully aware of what it is that you got done. This is the world of CFB. On today's episode, which was jam-packed from start to finish, we talked about a lot of things in a short period of time, and our target goal from Central State making history to all of the major changes that Brent Pry wants to install for 2025 and what the outlook could be, to another power player in the conversation, Dillon Thieneman, and what he's going to bring to Oregon in the Pacific Northwest as a Pacific Northwest Punisher in 2025, year of our Lord. And closing it down with Elijah Robinson and what he's got cooking up, not just in the recruiting scene, but also for this defense and their identity in this team that is building into the next era of Syracuse football with a long lineage of greats. It's been a jam-packed show, my friend. We greatly appreciate you watching. All we ask is you share it to make another person a college football fan and a ball knower. And at the core of it, this show spotlights everybody in the college football ecosystem. So if you lace them up, you're out there, a coach that has a story, has been through the mud, whether you're a player that started off as a 3-star recruit, is now at the centerpiece of a defense that has national championship expectations. We're going to talk about you. We're going to make sure that you're covered. This is the world of CFB.